Yes, I only had 6 amateur fights before I turned pro. But it's your boy JYD checking in live from the diaper room. Thank y'all so much for everybody who hit that subscribe button and that notification bell. We're closing in on 6.4K subscribers. Thank y'all so much on our journey to 7,000 followers. You guys are the absolute dopest. Without y'all, there is no JYD. Without you guys, there is no community. So thank y'all so much. I appreciate y'all. Please subscribe and hit that notification bell so that you can see every time we post on this channel, which we post daily. But yeah, I only had 6 amateur fights before I turned pro. It wasn't necessarily designed that way though. Like I'm not gonna say I'm like, the plan was for me to have 6 amateur fights and then turn pro. No, I started boxing late when I was 23 years old. What got me into boxing was my daughter needed open heart surgery when she was 3 months old. So after she had the open heart surgery, and after that, I, just seeing her go through the process of being on all of the medications and all of the tubes inside of her and all the things and basically being dead in the hospital and all of that stuff. She's fine now. She's fine now and she's 7. I said fine. I know, but she's fine. But yeah, seeing all those things, I just knew I had to make a better life and a better way for my daughter. So I just decided, like, hell, I'm good at fighting. I'm gonna go ahead and do it. So yeah, I started boxing when I was 23 years old, and then that's what happened. We ended up getting 6 amateur fights. So I was 6-0 with 5 knockouts as an amateur. And we used to always turn up to shows and get turned down for fights. Like, people would be ready to fight and then they would see like, oh no, that's him. Like, no, we're not fighting him. So we would go to show after show after show and then just like literally wouldn't be able to fight. So we then just started getting inside of a whole bunch of pro camps and just was working. But already at this time, I was already working with some professional fighters, but it wasn't at like a high level yet. So since we couldn't get any more fights, that's what we started doing. We just started working with all the pros around the city, in and out of the city, going to different places. We went to Baltimore, Jersey. We went to a bunch of different places and a bunch of other different places. Ended up coming here too because it's Philly. Philly's a fight hub. So although I only had 6 amateur fights, I was getting experience from world-class fighters. I was getting experience from former world champions, top contenders, world champions, blue chip prospects, and all of those things. I'm getting work with these guys. So I'm learning a lot. So that put me in a space where, although by the time I finally did turn pro, or even by the time, not even me turning pro, with me being an amateur still, because I hadn't turned pro until I was 26 years old. So even when I wasn't sparring the guys that were world-class guys, when I was working with guys who were supposed to be on my level, it made the work so much easier because I'm seeing world-class work on a regular basis. Like, every time I get in the ring, I'm used to working with, like I said, whether it was Julian Williams, Kyron, I sparred BY at that time. I was sparring number one ranked amateurs in the world and all types of stuff. I'm sparring all of these guys on a regular basis, and now when I'm in there with guys that's supposed to be my skill level, I'm way ahead of them. So it's not that oh, you should just get a small amount of amateur fights and then just jump in the water and turn pro. It kind of doesn't work that way. It's everybody's situation is different, right? If I had a late start being 23 years old, so I was never planning on being in the amateurs for an extended amount of time anyway. That was just never the goal. But when everything happened how it happened, we really didn't have much of a choice because it's not like I was actively getting fights anyway. So it's like, all right, listen, this is your amateur career, so we're going to do it. But I wouldn't recommend anyone else do that unless that's what your path calls for. And your path doesn't call for that because you want it to call for that. Your path has to call for that because literally that's just how God, or if you believe in the universe or fate or whatever it is you believe in, that's how it has to be set up via that. Not because you're just like, oh, well, JYD had 6 amateur fights. I can do it too. Chances are you probably can't. The difference between me and a lot of people is when I started boxing, I had enough money saved up to where as though I did not have to work a job for like the first 2 years of me boxing. So all I would do every day was just eat, sleep, and crap boxing over and over again. I would never miss a day. And granted, I still live the same way now. But when you don't have nothing else to worry about, and I wasn't even making content at that time. So when you have nothing else to worry about but just obsessing over the sport nonstop, day in and day out. My wife, she was because at that time I was only married to Bree, and she's doing pads with me in the crib and all of those things like that. Like we are doing this every day. The same thing that we do now, but we were doing this every single day nonstop. So when you are on, and my whole mindset was, I will never allow anybody who has a job to outwork me in the gym or be better than me in the gym or beat me in anything, because the hours that you're working your job, I'm using those hours to get better and obsess over the sport over and over again. So my situation was so strange and rare and weird that it put me in a position to where as though I didn't have to go through certain struggles of learning, because I have 24 hours a day to literally obsess over boxing nonstop over and over again, day in and day out. That's all I have to do. Everybody isn't, especially if you start late, everybody isn't blessed and fortunate enough to be in that position to start off that way. And then a couple more years down the line, by the time I turned pro, or right before I turned pro, I did have to get a job because, things happen, funds run low, pay for this, got kids, all of the cool stuff, whatever. But nonetheless, by the time I was working, by the time I had started working, I was already so far ahead of people that's been boxing so much longer than me. Guys been boxing their whole life or half their lives. Like, I closed that gap in 2 years because while they just like, they doing their thing. When you box for a really long time, you get burnt out sometimes, and you might take a break from the gym, or you might do this, or you might do that. While you're taking a break, I never took a break. I never took a break while y'all taking a break and y'all doing this and y'all doing that. I didn't do that. So I'm catching up and closing in on guys, not because my name is Jay, but because while y'all are taking breaks, I'm working with world-class fighters nonstop all of the time, day in and day out, and I'm just doing this over and over again. Then I'm gonna go home, I'm gonna take me a nap, I'm gonna wake up, I'm gonna drill at home, I'm gonna run, I'm gonna study film, I'm doing this nonstop. I'm eating and sleeping, right? I'm doing everything I'm supposed to do. And it closed the gap. So then by the time certain guys come back to the gym, or I run back into certain guys, then they like, dang, he got better. And I'm like, yeah, because I wasn't playing. So like, now you've been out of the gym so long, so you got to get back in shape and you got to do all of those things. I don't have to do those things because I'm already here. So everybody's path is different. But one thing that I will say about the amateurs is this: use the amateurs to learn, build experience, and have that fun. And not be, don't be too overly, like, yes, be critical of yourself, but don't be so overly critical, like, damn, I lost an amateur fight. Dog, it's an amateur fight. You can fight again next week. If you come, because unfortunately not even Lomachenko did it, but he should have done it because he was absolutely robbed in that one loss he had, and the amateurs came back and cooked dude. But my thing is this: outside of that, really, if you go your whole entire amateur career with no losses, it's hard to believe. It's super hard to believe. Like, it's no way you could have fought him. Because you can literally fight one week and then the next week come right back and fight again. You can fight like every week. You know how many amateur fights are being put on, especially if you're a traveling dog? You can fight all of the time. So don't be focused on like, oh, I took a loss in the amateurs, I'm hard on myself, what do I do? What should you do? You should get back up on that horse and keep on a riding. And I know some of y'all gonna like pause to that, but whatever. That's what you do. Just hop your ass back on that horse and keep on riding, because that's realistically what it takes, bro. And that's okay. But that is realistically what it takes. There's nothing wrong with losing an amateur fight. There's nothing wrong with losing at all, as long as you actually fought the good fight, fought hard, and didn't cower out and didn't quit. there's nothing wrong with taking a loss. It's boxing. Sometimes a guy is just better, and that's okay. But if you know you gave 100% and you can look in the mirror after you're done that fight, you solid. So if you're in the amateurs, use that to build yourself. Use that to build your technique. Use that to build everything that you got going on. Why? Because it matters. It matters, it matters, it matters, and it helps. And trust me, when you turn pro, you'll realize the pro game and the amateur game they're not even the same sport. But I'll get into that in another video. But amateur boxing and professional boxing is not the same sport at all. It's not scored the same. It's not paced the same. It's not anything the same. It's not judged the same. It's nothing. Amateur boxing and pro boxing are not the same thing. And one thing with me was I never had an amateur style because I was trained under world-class pros nonstop all the time. My brother Naeem showed me everything. And he never, ever trained me. Between him and Zai, I was never trained like an amateur. I was trained like a pro every single time. I learned like a pro. I didn't have an amateur style. When you turn pro, sometimes you got to go from learning the amateur style to the pro style. I didn't have that issue. I didn't have that issue because I never fought like an amateur because that's not how I was trained and raised up in the game. So although I did have 6 amateur fights, I was put through the ringer. I was put through the ringer. I was put through the ringer with who I was sparring and who I was working with because I did not have a choice. I didn't have a choice. So that was my amateur experience. So don't just think that I had 6 amateur fights. I'm going to just jump in. And don't think you're going to do that. And don't think you're supposed to do that. You're not. Get all the experience that you can get. Learn from your coach. Learn from your team. Allow them to do their job while you do your job. If you are on fire and you are doing what you're supposed to do and you crushing it in the game and you know the world know your name because you like that, trust me, your team knows like, all right, yeah, he about to have to turn pro soon because we, maybe get an Olympics in or whatever, but he about to turn over soon. They know what they're doing. As long as you are doing your job and your team is a trusted, knowledgeable team, they know what they're doing. Allow them to do their job. You do your job. And everything will come together the way it's supposed to. I hope that shine light on things with the whole amateur thing or my amateur background at least. And what you should do with yours. What you should do is listen to your team and stay in the gym. That's what you should do. So, yeah. I guess there's that. I don't know. I just come on here and just talk to y'all, realistically speaking. Just tell y'all what's up with me. But I appreciate y'all. I love y'all so much. Please hit that subscribe button. Please hit that notification bell so that you can know every single time that we post on this channel. I love y'all so much. Without y'all, there is no JYD. There is no community. So thank y'all so much. We've been doing excellent in this community. We've been doing excellent with all of the social medias that we're on. So thank y'all so much for that, man. I really, truly do appreciate y'all. Live from the diaper room, JYD signing out. Beautiful John. Until next time. Peace.